Today I'm going to talk through how to generate thousands of positive reviews and then what you should actually do with them once you've got them. I was introed before, but I'm from Christchurch, New Zealand, so hence the twang. And yeah, I made lots of websites when I was younger. There wasn't AdSense around, so I was one of those guys putting pop-ups in your face, but it was good money back then. Don't worry about notes. If you want them, just send me a message and I'll send you through them all. So today we'll go through companies that are doing reviews well and a couple that aren't. Just some case studies there. We'll go through why reviews matter, why you should even care and spend the time and money and investment into getting them. And then I'll take you through the four-part process that I use to generate reviews. So the timing, when to ask people, how to ask them, what mediums to use, where you should push them, if you should get it on your own website or not. Then I'll take you through, since we're at Growth Hackers, I'll take you through 9 hacks that will supercharge the reviews that you generate. Once you've got your reviews, you've actually got to do something with them. So I'll tell you what to do with the positive reviews and then how to handle the negative reviews, which unfortunately you will get. So word of warning before we get started, this is not a magic bullet. So if your product sucks, your service sucks, your customer support sucks, then you should probably leave the room now because what will happen if you scale up at this point, if you don't have product market fit, people that love your product, is you'll just get a lot of bad reviews because you're going to be asking for them. So make sure you spend time fixing your product and work all that out before you scale up your review generation activities. This presentation is also not about fake reviews. So you can actually buy reviews from overseas. You can get thousands of reviews straight away, overnight. But the review sites are pretty smart. They'll know that where they originated from. A boiler room somewhere overseas is not going to be a long-term strategy. But if you want a good story about fake reviews, there's a guy that built a fake restaurant in London called The Shed, and he pretty much gamed his way to be the #1 rated restaurant in London, and it didn't even exist. So that's definitely worth a watch after this if you like fake reviews. Before we carry on as well, I'll just clear up reviews, testimonials, and feedback, because they actually get used pretty interchangeably. You'll read articles about getting feedback and they mean reviews. I'm going to talk all about reviews today, and what a review means to me is someone posting online about a service, either good or bad, so that other people know about it, so that they can learn whether to use the service or product or not. Testimonial, on the other hand, is always positive. That's something that a company has taken and they're going to promote it. So it's a bit different, but you can get that from reviews. And feedback, that's usually private feedback that comes in the form of surveys, polls, and it's used to improve the business. So I'll be focusing on reviews. I'll be focusing on text reviews as well. Video reviews are pretty awesome, but there's not heaps of sites that store them at the moment. Amazon is starting to make a move into that for products, but yeah, I'll be focusing on text reviews, and you can use the strategies throughout anyway. Cool, a few companies that are doing reviews well. You've definitely heard of all 3 of these. First one, Amazon. They dominate reviews. That's one product with 160,000 reviews, just one product. I checked this again today. That was about a week ago. They've now got 166,000. So they're churning through reviews pretty easily and building up them, and generally pretty positive for this product. How do they do it? Essentially, they just trigger an email. They're pretty good at logistics, obviously. That's their main business, Amazon. So they know exactly when you've received the email, when it's been signed for, received the product. And what they do is essentially they send out an email, trigger it automatically, and they ask you to rate 2 things. Rate the seller. How was the seller? How was the customer support? How was the packaging? Was it there on time? And then to rate the product as well. So they try and get 2 reviews at the same time. Both of those go to pretty simple forms. So the one on the left, rate the seller. That's pretty simple. They ask a few questions there to make sure their sellers are giving the customer support that they want. But the one on the right, the product one, the one we should care about more, all they're asking for is a star rating and the review. So keeping it simple. Next up is TripAdvisor. So there's a brand obviously you all know. You've probably left a review on there if you like traveling. They dominate. That was back in 2011. So they're dominating the whole travel industry, Expedia, for example. And this is 2015. They're up to 200 million reviews. So that's huge. And obviously it's a lot more than that now. How do they do it? Basically, they put the power into the people that are listed on their site, the businesses that are listed on the site, whether it's a restaurant, a hotel, and they let those hotels upload email addresses of their customers and trigger requests. As you can see again, it's a pretty simple request. Give us a rating out of 5, which then opens up a form, title of the review, what is your review, and a few other options that helps their customers filter out later on, but no big long forms like feedback forms. One a bit closer to home that's dominating, they've got awesome digital marketing across all channels. If you want to learn anything, have a look at what they're doing. They've got a pretty good team. Not a client of mine either, just pretty good at it. As you can see, they try and get reviews in a few different platforms, which is important, and we'll go through later. So we've got Google reviews, product review, they're pretty high on, and they use a tool called Yotpo, which we'll talk about soon. If you're in e-commerce, you'll need to know about that. Now they've got 12,000 reviews, which is in Australia is quite a lot for one company. How do they do it? So they trigger, again, a really simple email, just a text email. They trigger that twice, 1 week apart, different subject lines, but same email. And they've actually built functionality into their email, or Yotpo has, that you can actually fill into their email. Probably not on Outlook, which is pretty buggy, but on most email browsers. And then they've got a bit of social sharing at the end, which is great. Some that aren't, I could literally talk for 2 hours about some that aren't. Sorry if you work for one of these companies, but there's so many companies out there that are getting bad reviews and aren't working on their review strategy. It could be because their product and service does suck, so that's why they're getting the bad reviews. It could be because they're not actually trying to generate positive reviews. We'll talk about the type of people that leave reviews if you don't ask them soon. But if they had a better review strategy, I'm sure their ratings would be better. So why reviews matter? You can literally find stats everywhere, and I'm sure you've seen them before, about the positive impact that reviews have. There's tons of them. If you search on Google Images, you find heaps of them. Problem is you don't know how they did their surveys, you don't know about it unless you do a survey yourself on the reviews. So I actually prefer to use hard data, things like split testing. So this watch company, for example, split test all the different watches across the product templates across their site. All they did was change a section, why buy from us, where they told the people why they should buy, to reviews from Trustpilot, where other customers said why you should buy from them. That actually increased their sales by 58.29%, just making that one change. So that's pretty powerful. And there's heaps of split tests like that that show reviews will help your conversion rates. Another reason that you should think about reviews and care about it and put the timers is because reviews are actually becoming a channel in its own right. So people are now starting to change, and they're actually going to review site first, such as product review, before they've even worked out who they want to buy from. Finding the category that they want to buy and looking at the top reviewed companies to find them, versus in the past where they found the company and then checked out the reviews to see if they're legit. That means that reviews can be a channel in its own right. That's a couple of examples. One company got 898 leads from product review. Another one, 830,000 revenue. So it can be pretty lucrative if you do it right. So now I'm going to talk you through how to generate reviews. So this is a 4-part process, like I said, and we'll start with timing. So knowing when to ask for a review is pretty important. If you ask too early and they haven't got your product or they haven't experienced it yet, you're not going to get a review. If you ask too late, they've forgotten about you. So you need to ask at the right time, not just to increase the number of reviews you get, but to increase the chances of it being positive. There's generally 3 times to do that. Immediately after they've purchased your product, so they've made a decision, they've done the full research, and they're ready to buy. Oh, they've just bought. Immediately after they've received your product, you're not a scam, they've got it, they've downloaded your product, it exists, and they've got to play around with it. Or if it's e-commerce, it's arrived and the package is open. Or the best one, but the hardest to measure, is immediately after they've received the promised benefit that you said in your marketing, once they get that. But how do you measure that? That's pretty hard. If you can send your review request at that time, that's going to get the best results, but it's hard to work out. A few ways that you could use to work out that timing for your company. Obviously, all companies are different, all clients are different, but you have to choose a time. You could have a look at, if you've already got reviews, you could have a look at the organic reviews that you've got, work backwards and see when they became a customer, and see if there's a correlation between the star rating that they've given you and the length of time, and map that all out. You could use surveys and polls yourself and ask customers and try triggering that at different times to work out when they used your product, for example, because some people, they buy something and they don't open it for a couple of weeks. Is that the case for most of your customers or not? You could also look at, if you've run Net Promoter Score surveys in the past, they're basically surveys that big brands, generally big brands, send out that say, would you recommend us to a friend or friend? So you could do that and reverse engineer it and work out when did they become a customer, what are they rating us? That could work as well. You can also split test different times. So split test, creating 2 different versions with one difference. The one difference being timing, and work out which one works best to get you more positive reviews. Reviewing your competitors, that's a big one. If I was a competitor to Koala, who are getting heaps of reviews, I'd be buying a mattress, looking at their timing, working it all out, because if it's working for them and you're in the same industry, it could work. So don't forget about your competitors. And of course, you can speak to your customers and get insights. If you're still not sure, quite a few of the review aggregation sites actually put out stats. They're obviously collecting hundreds of thousands of reviews from all different industries. Here's one I found. Best time to ask is a Monday between 1 to 3. But you don't know whether to trigger that in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So you should spend some time working on your timing. But it can be something that evolves because you have to pick something. Here's one that got me. Obviously, finished my beer at the pub. Perfect timing. Get to the bottom, they're asking me for a review. Not bad. So asking, how should you actually ask for the review? People in this room have shopped with hundreds of brands over the last year, but I doubt that you've written 100 reviews. If you have, you're definitely in the minority. People don't tend to write reviews, or not many reviews, about happy experiences. People that are unhappy, on the other hand, love to vent. And they're the ones that will leave you most of your reviews if you're not asking. So, yeah, there's been quite a few studies done about companies that started ramping up asking all their customers for a review, even if they're positive, happy, or sad, and they found that you'll get way higher star ratings just by asking. So you have to ask, and if you're not, that should be something you start straight away. How should you ask? You've got to keep it specific and simple. Don't make it complicated in any way, just literally say what you want. And you saw from those examples before, they weren't asking for much. They weren't asking a 10-question survey. They weren't trying to combine it with a poll. They were simply asking for a star rating and a review, the text. And it was free form as well, not rate us out of 5 for every 5 different things, just a star rating and a review. It's also important that you personalize your request. Your brand's got a voice. I'm sure you've developed that if you've got a company. The same type of voice you'd use on a social media post, you should put in your request. If you copy and paste a template, I haven't got any templates in here, because if you copy and paste one, it's not going to get the same result. Your customers, if you're quirky, be quirky in your review request, and you'll get better results. And you should definitely include what they actually bought, because chances are they've forgotten you. They're shopping with lots of different people. My wife over there, lots of packages come in all the time, so you need to know. They need to know what they're reviewing to get a chance of reviewing, to get a chance of getting the review. And you should also not be afraid to ask more than one time. So most companies send one review request and stop. You could do something like send one review request, and if they don't open it, send another one, which we'll talk about how to ask soon. You should also look at asking via more than one medium. Most people choose email, but yeah, it's a lot better to use different mediums because not everyone checks their emails. People get a lot of them. A few other things to include. If you pre-frame your opening line, if you've had a good experience, please leave us a review. You'll get more people that have had a good experience leaving your review, just that subtle change. You need to give them a reason. It's taking time out of their day to leave your review. They don't really get anything out of it, unless you incentivize them, which we can talk about soon. But yeah, you have to give them a reason to help people just like you make a decision. You have to tell them how easy it is. It's only going to take you 2 minutes. Things like that are going to help the number of reviews that you generate. You should also, I hate getting emails from brands that say no reply at, and then the brand name. So make sure you send it actually from someone. If you send it from a no reply email address and they're not happy, the only way they can reply and tell you that is by leaving you a review. So send it from an actual person, and then chances are they might just reply and say, look, I haven't had a good time. So you'll save yourself from one negative review right there. So a few ways to ask. There's a lot of different mediums and channels. So you can use automated email. That's the best one. That's the one that most people use, and it's the easiest to set up, so I'd start there. You can use manual email. Let's say you've got really high-value clients. You've only got 100 clients. You don't want to set up an automated email for them. It's impersonal. They might have an account manager. They've got a relationship with a salesperson. Ask them personally. Don't automate emails to those types of people. Or if you can't set up a trigger point, then you have to send a manual email because you're going to have to work out when they're at their happiest. Yeah. SMS, this is becoming more and more common now for local businesses. So SMS, there's a lot of different services that do that. You can connect them up with your CRM system and trigger basically review requests. Google, I don't know if you've been using Google Maps, but they've actually started push notificating people, and they're making a big move into reviews. So if you've got an app, push notifications can be a great way to get reviews, and you'll probably know how long they've used your app, how many times they've used it, and you can work out if they're an engaged user there as well. You can also use ads. So you could set up Facebook ads or Google remarketing ads. You obviously have to pay per click for those, so they will cost you, but it can just be a different way to get in front of people that are getting a lot of review requests and emails already. What you could do is you could set up ads that only target the people that have shopped off you 5 times, for example. So you're really happy, loyal customers that are worth investing the money to get a review off, because it's probably going to be a pretty good one. Offline, so with all the e-commerce shopping you do, you never ever really get prompted to leave a review, which is strange. But yeah, you could definitely include cards in your e-commerce packages. If you go around, if you're like a house cleaning company, you could just leave a card with every house you clean. There's a lot of different ways to do it offline, so don't forget about that either. Phone calls, there's me ringing a client. Phone calls and in person is just way better if you've got those 100 clients. If you're ringing 100,000 of them, it's not going to work, but if the number's low, it's going to be a way higher success rate. And if you're in person, they're not really going to leave you a bad review with you standing over their shoulder. So that one can be good as well. So there's all different ways to ask them, but you don't want to do that manually because it's just going to take up way too much of your time, and you'll come to another talk like this and hear something very exciting, and then that'll take up all your time, and you'll forget about the review request. And it has to be something you build over the long term. So yeah, if you can set up an online trigger for that point they're at their happiest. So if you're an e-commerce shop and you work out that 45 days after receiving the product, that's their happiest. If you can set that up as an online trigger, you can automate all your review requests, so you never have to think about them again. Here's an example of how that might look. In a chart, they purchase, you apply a customer tag in whatever system you're using, you trigger them the first review request email or whatever medium you've picked. They haven't opened it, so you resend it, potentially with a different subject line. And then you apply a different tag once they've actually opened the email and clicked through, because you know they've probably left you a review and you don't want to bother them again. So a few different ways that you can automate it on the different mediums I talked about before. All email providers offer automation, and if they don't, you should move away from them straight away, because it's pretty simple stuff these days, and they're quite easy to set up. Like MailChimp is free. MailChimp offers free automation as well now, and that's for up to 2,000 contacts. So if you're a small business, just start there. If you're an e-commerce business, Yotpo, that's quite an expensive tool, but amazing for review generation. So they use machine learning across all your different products to work out the exact right time to trigger the review request. That was Koala before. They used Yotpo. They've got all different templates, and yeah, they're pretty awesome. Amazon, so now they're here. Amazon do trigger their own review request emails, but you can take it to the next level and control that yourself. There's a company called Feedback Genius that does that for you, so if you're selling with Amazon. I talked before about SMS messages. There's a company called Burst SMS. You can have your developer connect up whatever forms you're using, your app, and trigger SMS messages via there, big sequence, whatever sequences you want. MiniChat, banned from Facebook at the moment with everything that's going on, but I'm sure they'll come back. But they will let you set up chatbots that ask for a review. Chatbot messages have a really high open rate. I think it's like 80%. So that could be a different way to ask for a review. In America, you can actually automate direct mail as well, and they do post it over here, but it might be weird coming from an American company, your letter, but hopefully it'll be over here. One company even connects your CRM system up with them, and they handwrite your letters. So that's a pretty impressive way to automate your review requests if you don't have that many customers. If you can't automate it, that sucks, but you have to still try and get reviews because they are so powerful in everything you do. So a way that you can make it better is by basically a better way of manual review requesting. So let's say you could log into MailChimp or whatever email provider you use and set up an automated sequence, which are your review request emails. Rather than typing them out or preparing them as a campaign all the time, you can then just set up an automated campaign that every time you upload a list of emails, it'll trigger to them. So then all you need to do is get your sales team, whoever's in charge of triggering the reviews, and probably you at the company, and just upload it. And that will trigger the review request without you even thinking about creating the emails. So that's just a better way to do it. You can also use the different review sites to trigger manual review requests. So Product Review, for example, lets you create a business account, log in, and you can just upload a manual list of emails, and they'll trigger a review request. But the only problem with that is they're pushing everyone to Product Review, which we'll go through in a sec, isn't usually the best way, but it's better than doing nothing. So pushing, where should you actually push your reviews? Unless this is a mistake that I see a lot of brands making. They ask for a review, they've got a form on their site, you fill in the review. You're missing out on heaps of benefits if you do that. So unless you're a review collation site, I don't think you should be trying to get reviews on your own site. There's heaps of different sites out there that you should be getting them on instead. And we'll cover how you can get them back to your website. There's lots of different ways. So instead of sending all the reviews requests to your website, fill out a form, get your review, put it on your own website, what you can do is create a reviews page on your website. And this is what we do at Web Profits. Essentially, that gives a customer a range of options on where to leave your review. I say a range of options because not everyone's got a Facebook account. Not everyone wants to leave a review on Google. People are more likely to leave a review on a platform that they're familiar with. So you give them a range of options, but importantly, it's not all options. You still want to pick the absolute best places to get your reviews. There's a stat there from reviewtrackers.com that 59% of consumers use 2 or 3 sites before they make a decision, so they check you out on a few different ones. So you have to be on more than one site. That's why I wouldn't want to trigger them from Product Review if I can help it, as good as their platform is. The other 41% must only view one review site or none. So if you haven't picked the exact right review site that those people are on, you're not going to find them. So yeah, it's important to pick a range of them. Before selecting a review site, make sure you actually try and leave a review yourself. There's some terrible functionality. Here's an example. Leave a review. Okay, you've got to log in. Oh, you've got to register an account. You actually have to give a biography about yourself to set up an account to leave a review. You're not going to get many reviews if you do that, if you send your customers to sites like that. So if it's a long, complicated sign-up process, just avoid it. You should also send people through directly to your site. So you'll notice that also says open review form. You want to send them directly to the form on that site, not to the homepage of Product Review to then go and try and find your company, because that just adds hassle. And as soon as you do that, friction, less people will leave a review. The good thing about using a reviews page as well is that once you've got enough reviews on one site, you can actually remove it so that you increase the focus on the other sites. So we've had clients that have got heaps of reviews on Product Review, and not many on Facebook, not many on the other platforms. So all we did was swap out Product Review, take it away, and instantly all the other sites started getting more traction. So that can work really well and can mean that you look good everywhere. You've got good star ratings and reviews everywhere. So which sites would I focus on first? Well, in Australia, Product Review. I think it's the biggest, most well-known review platform. They've got really good SEO. So if you do a search for service name reviews, for example, they're up there. And that's important because if they're getting organic traffic and then you're ranking at the top of that category, it's going to go to you. So yeah, they're pretty good, and it will bring you traffic and leads if you start getting ranked at the top of your category. Facebook reviews are a no-brainer. If someone writes a review, all their friends see it in the feed. Obviously, the flip side is if it's a negative review, all their friends see it and might jump in. But we'll talk about how to deal with negative reviews soon. Another one's Google My Business. So you've all seen the links on Google Maps, the listings, and now that they're starting to make a big play into reviews, I'd definitely be focusing on Google as well. Who knows what they're going to do in the future, but if they're push notificating everyone that's using Google Maps to try and get reviews, you can tell they've got something planned. You can send people through straight to a form that reviews your business, and there's actually a hack to automatically select 5 stars. So if you want to do that, I'll send you the link afterwards. But yeah, that will definitely help what star rating you get. Another good one in Australia is local business directories, especially if you're a local business, like a builder or something like that. They don't get as much traffic as they used to, but they're still pretty effective at helping your SEO rankings, and people do go to them. So True Local, Yelp, word of mouth, there's a lot of different ones, but those are the 3 main ones. If you are going onto there and you have multiple office locations, make sure to upload them all, because then you'll get local reviews from people that have used that branch, and it's better for your SEO as well. That page will rank if someone does a search from that location. If you're e-commerce and you're selling on Amazon and eBay, try and get reviews there, as many as you possibly can, because that's going to not only help your conversion rate of the people that actually buy that product, but the more reviews and the more velocity you've got, that'll help you rank as well. So if someone does a search for your product category, the reviews will help you rank. I've left Trustpilot and FIFO off the list. They're pretty popular in Australia. Again, hope no one's in the room, but the main reason is because they're not getting enough SEO traffic compared to product review. And if you've got your lowest hanging fruit is, say, 5 review sites, that is not getting enough to be there. They don't really have the category pages that product review does, and they offer the same functionality. If that were to swap, I'd instantly put Trustpilot back up there if they ranked up things here. One thing not to forget as well is niche review sites. So every industry generally has different review sites. In software, it's Capterra. If you're a real estate agent, it's Rate My Agent. Hotels have obviously got TripAdvisor. Those are the ones that will be getting a lot of traffic in your industry, and are worth focusing on as well. To find them, just search for your service name reviews, go through, say, the first 10 pages and look at all the different review sites, or look at your competitors, where are they listed for reviews, and see if you can find a site then. One thing to do, though, is check how many reviews are actually on the site. If there's only 90, 80, 50, I don't know if I'd bother if you're going to make up the most of them. So now some hacks. So you've got your reviews page, you know when to send the review, and you know all the different mediums that you can do it. But we need a few hacks to increase the velocity of reviews and increase the percentage that are positive. So the first one is a way to increase your positive reviews. So similar how if you're at a restaurant, the serving person or bartender asks you on the way out, have you had a good experience? And you say yes, and they say, cool, can you leave us a review on TripAdvisor? You can do the exact same thing online. So that reviews page we made before, what you could do is modify your page and ask them how happy they are before you even ask them for a review. Give us a rating out of 10 with how satisfied you are. If they give you a score of 1 to 6, say, you can pick whatever scores you want, but if they give you a score of 1 to 6, you should ask them why. You should actually find out why they're unsatisfied. So yeah, we do this for some clients and send it straight through their customer support team and make sure we resolve the issue. If you don't resolve that issue, that's someone who's just responded to a review email, thought about reviewing, and eventually they probably will review. So I'd do anything you can to resolve that. And if you can turn them around, potentially you could get a good product review off them. If they score 7 to 10 though, great. You want to push those people out to leave a review about you. So that can be a pretty effective way to increase the percentage chance of getting positive reviews, but also find out who is unhappy before they even have a chance to review so you can solve their problem, because they could still be a customer. They're probably telling their friends in real life. So yeah, you should definitely call them in and prioritize that. And yeah, that hack can work on all channels. If you do it via SMS, just ask them out of 10 and trigger them different review requests. Hack number 2, so you don't actually have to review your main product or service. This is one that's a bit different. What you could do, if you give value to people in your target market in any other way, you could get a review for that. So the example there is 2 reviews of reviews of a free consultation call. So all they've done is say, put in your details and we'll give you a free consultation and talk you through your issue. That's really effective because straight after the call, they trigger a review request and you're actually getting a review of your call. Most of the reviews don't even mention the call. They just say, this company really knows their staff, they helped me out when I really needed it, etc., and give pretty good star ratings. So if you can back yourself that you've got a good offering like that, might be even a free ebook, for example, that you know is really awesome. Might be an easy booking process or a customization of a t-shirt if you're an e-commerce store. So you just have to try it out and see what type of reviews you get. But that's a pretty good way to, that service, for example, takes months and months and months to end, and some of them don't, so they could never get a review off those people otherwise. And you get non-customers leaving you a review. Hack number 3 is incentivize your reviews. So it's actually a bit of a myth that you can't incentivize reviews. You can, but you just have to incentivize them no matter whether they leave you a positive review or a negative one. So there's a few different ways that do it. Dimmy, they give you reward points if you leave them a review. Those reward points can be changed for dining vouchers, restaurant vouchers. Product Review does it for a few different brands. Carlisle Homes, 1 in every 3 gets a $500 gift card. So you can incentivize it. It doesn't have to be a prize. It could be like a service upgrade for everyone who gives a review. Or you could even donate to a charity if that's more aligned with your brand values. Another hack, if you're starting out a business, I know there's a lot of startups in the room, you can actually ask your staff, friends, and family for reviews. You don't have to do it discreetly. I know most people do, but as long as they disclose it, it's fine. The review sites aren't going to remove it. So your staff could write a review for you, that's the example there, and say how good the company is to work for, and highlight how good they treat their customers, for example, something that will give value to people that are reading it. Obviously, they're not the best reviews, but over time, as you get more and more through your automated process, they'll just sink down the bottom and add to your review count and your star rating. You should also maximize your surveys and polls. So if you're running these, and a lot of companies are, just put one extra question in there. Would you leave us a review? At the end of this survey, would you be willing to leave us a review? Well, you'll be surprised how many people actually say yes. It might only be 60, 80, but it's just worth it. One extra question, yes or no answer. And if you've already worked out if they're happy by the time they get to that question, you can apply the first hack as well and not show it or show it, which will help. Another hack to use is social listening. So if you've got a brand, people are probably already talking about it. Not too many people, unless they've got a social media department, do social listening. But you should manually search all the different social networks for your brand name or set up alerts. Both mentions of your brand name, tags your page, whatever it is. This works pretty well because there are people talking about your brand, and you should ask them for a review if they are talking about it positively. Here's an example, teacher talking about how good a teaching book was. That book, whoever wrote the book, was obviously monitoring social. They weren't tagged in it, just their brand name was mentioned. And I've found that out and said, fantastic, thank you for your review. Could you leave us a review on Amazon? So they've pushed them out to where they want them to leave a review. Or you could send them to your reviews page. And she's replied saying, no worries, I will post you a review. So that's a pretty good thing to do. And there's a tool called mention.com, which can pull in all your mentions from all over the place, which will make your life easier. Another hack, if you're serious about getting reviews, and especially if you've got a low number of customers, you don't know when the happy point is for them, you can't automate the process as easily, is incentivize and reward your team. So actually tell them you're serious about it. It could be a reward per review if you're not getting many, or it could be a reward or a leaderboard style. At the end of every month, the sales person who got the most reviews gets something. Podium.com did a review of all the different review incentive schemes for staff. Cash one, but you can do whatever you want at your own company. But yeah, especially important if you need your salesperson to tell you when to send a review request or to trigger something. Otherwise, they won't have the incentive. Hack number 8, I talked about this before. Look at your biggest competitor who's already dominating and getting a lot of reviews. Not the biggest competitor with no reviews or no strategy, but just the biggest one who's getting heaps of reviews and climbing up the ranks on, say, product review. See what they're doing. Another hack is just to track and report on your reviews. In line with incentivizing your team, you should actually report on this month to month. I don't think many companies do this. How many reviews did we get? What was the star rating, average star rating? What were some highlight positive reviews? What were some low light negative reviews? That type of thing is going to get anyone in your team actually thinking about reviews all the time. And it's a pretty simple report. There's a tool called reviewtrackers.com. They integrate all your reviews from everywhere and give you heaps of different reports. And the best thing is you can actually reply to all the different reviews from all the different platforms within their platform. So that can save you a lot of time. So what to do when you actually get a positive review? Most people just go, awesome, crack the bubbly and celebrate. But you should actually do a lot more than that. So the first thing you should do is thank positive reviewers. People love to hear from brands. especially on social, and brands replying to them, especially if you're a bigger brand, they think that you don't read all their messages, will have a big impact. So just engaging with them will start turning them into brand ambassadors a little bit more. So make sure you respond on every review platform, whatever they left you the review, and just thank them for it. If you can personalize that with something about them, if you remember them, if you're a restaurant, that will be even better. Here's an example, a restaurant, they said, we came in, the food was awesome, this is what we had. And they said, cool, Grady loved it. How about you try this seafood dish next time you come in? And they replied, well. They were surprised that they got a reply from the brand. If you can measure how many people have read the person's review, for example, you can do something quite cool as well. Here's what TripAdvisor do. I left a review, they thanked me straight away, awesome. Got myself a reviewer's badge, whatever that means. A couple of days later, my review got accepted, it got published, and it told me that travelers are already taking advantage of my review. Nice, that was actually worth writing it. The next thing though, 1,180 people in 1 week had already read my review. So that's pretty powerful, telling people the impact that they've had. And that increases the chance that they're going to write another review or just become loyal to your brand. And I'm only 2 reviews away from my senior reviewer's badge, which is awesome. Once you get a positive review, you can also be a bit cheeky and try and transfer that to another review platform as well. Let's say you've got one that's got a few negative reviews and you need to build up the positives. Private message that person and just ask them a favor. Hey, could you please post that review into another place as well? Most of them will oblige. They were happy with your brand. And if you've just replied to them and sent them a personalized request, they're going to know that you're pretty onto it there. If you get an awesome review, you should definitely take that to the next level. That's when you can start turning reviews into testimonials. Obviously, you could use that text review, but if you can turn that into a video testimonial, that will do wonders for all your marketing, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, your landing page. It will do, yeah, it's worth the effort. So I'd outreach to anyone who leaves you an awesome review and see if they'd be willing to do a video testimonial. There's services like 90-second videos, which actually have videographers all over Australia, and they can send them out to do the video recording, so you don't even have to be in the same city. You should also learn from your reviews. Most people learn from the negative reviews because they hurt, but you can learn a few different things from your positive reviews as well. It might be how your customers speak. If you can update your copywriting on your website to be how your target market speaks, your conversion rates are going to be a lot better. But it's pretty hard to write like your target market unless you're in them. So you could learn how the type of language they're using and apply that. You can find out what they actually value about your service. The example there, we do marketing for a superannuation company, fossil-free one. We're marketing coal-free, fossil-free all the time. Heaps of reviews start coming up about human rights abuses. Maybe we should be creating a landing page on human rights abuses and trying that targeting. Seems like a no-brainer, but you'll notice things in the reviews, especially the positive ones as well, that will help you. And you might find new ways they're using your products or services. The biggest one, though, is using your reviews. So you've sent people to your reviews page that have sent them off to all over the web, and they've placed your review. Great, but what about your own website? What about your own marketing? So once you've got a positive review, it's a testimonial at that point, and you can use that to overcome objections in your buying process. It might be in your checkout process. If people are worried about security or speed delivery, you can put reviews straight in there. Reviews work best if you transfer them back to not just a big reviews page, because not many people search through that. I've seen some of them that are just mini A4 pages long, but it's actually best if you put it into the page where they're going to have that objection. So if you're delivering the NBN, for example, make sure all your reviews on that page are about the NBN. Again, it seems like a no-brainer, but people just put generic reviews in generally, or they cycle through all of their reviews. So make sure you're putting it in the right place. Here's an example of a company putting in the right place. Purple Bricks, the real estate agency disruptor. So you type in your postcode, and it basically gives you a list of the local agents that it can refer you to. Instead of putting a review next to them that says, Purple Bricks was awesome, it sold my house, they'll put in a review of that specific agent. Joshua Singer, here's a review on Joshua Singer. That's pretty effective, and it increases the chances that you're going to use that person for sure. And another thing they've done is put in the logo, the Trustpilot logo and the stars, which just adds credibility. You can click through and see the review exists. No one's just typed it themselves. It can be pretty tempting. Designers love it, putting in photos and things like that with your reviews. Generally, you won't transfer a photo off Facebook and put an actual review of someone. It's a bit cheeky. But what you could do instead of using stock photos, which look terrible, and if someone detects that it's a stock photo, instantly the review that you've got isn't really credible anymore because it's not that person that left the review. So you could do what loans.com.au did. They just got all their staff to line up, hold a piece of white card, and take photos one day. And then they had their team just Photoshop in the different reviews to the different spots, which I think looks pretty impressive. If you get a lot of reviews, so let's say you've got your MBM page and you've got 1,000 reviews, it's going to be pretty hard to people to find the right one. You could either just pick 2 or 3, maybe 4, or what you could do is let people filter the reviews to find the issue that they've got. So here's an example, TripAdvisor again. They basically let you type in a keyword and then filter out all the reviews to show you the ones they care about. That can be good if you don't have any problems at all with your business, but it can be bad if, let's say, you are noisy, because instantly if that's a concern, people are going to find that out. But what you can do is you can log in analytics what people are typing in, and then you either need to improve your copy on that page to address that concern that everybody is having, or you need to fix that thing with your business. There's lots of different ways you can use your reviews. You can use a word cloud. Again, if you've got thousands of reviews, you can pull out all the keywords in them. It's hard to read through them all, and run them through a tool like a word cloud, and that will tell you what your customers are valuing most about your business. You can use that yourself just to quickly drill into, for that company's customer service, to drill into why people are giving you positive reviews or negative. Or you could use it on your website as well if you wanted. So as well as transferring reviews back manually, copying and pasting, and working it into your designs, you can actually also embed or like transfer over a whole widget of reviews. The example on the right there is a product review widget. So that's just a little bit of code that they give you that you transfer back and put onto your page. You can still set up filtering. For example, product review, you can say, I only want to show 4- and 5-star reviews, and that will let you do it. You can literally embed every Facebook review you get individually. So that could look pretty impressive if you've got, say, a landing page. Having the actual Facebook review there that they can click through, see the person's real, they know it's a Facebook page, is going to be a lot more effective than copy and paste where you could have just updated it yourself. The only problem and downside is you can't customize how it looks that easily. So your designer might have a problem with it, but yeah, it certainly adds way more credibility. You've got the reviews on your site now. What you should do is promote them. People react way better. We've seen it through testing all different ads, from hearing from people that are like them, hearing from people that are talking like them, hearing from people that aren't you shouting out how good your brand is. So you should definitely look at promoting your reviews and your advertising. That's an example of an email sequence for a skincare product. Just one email in there to start addressing, like if they've got concerns, a bit of social proof. You should sort your reviews by the USP that they mention, because different target markets will respond to different USPs if you've got a few, and then test which ones work the best. So it might be they've said you're really cheap, or you're fast, or the quality is really good. Divide them all up and then promote them and just test it through, say, Facebook ads to see which one works best for which different target market. Here's a few examples on Facebook. One on the left, just a static, normal Facebook ad, literally says what they left in the review. One on the right is a carousel ad, so that lets you, it works on Facebook and Instagram, but lets you add as many reviews in as you want. And that can be pretty effective if you've got a bunch of different reviews. You can use the Google Display Network, all the ads on the left. So let's say you had people starting to check out on your checkout process. You could remarket to them if they didn't complete it with testimonials, just to bring back that trust and click through. Or you could create an animated GIF or even a video. If you do create a video of all your different reviews, make sure you tag everyone that watches it, because you can actually remarket to them again with different conversion-focused ads. Another way you can promote your reviews is to use rich snippets. So this is an SEO and organic search results. Essentially, it's a bit of code, which you can see there, which tells Google, this is my star rating. You can pick one site. This one, for example, is product review. And it's just a little bit of code that you add to your footer of most of your pages, and Google will start picking it up. They're not going to show it every time, but when they do show it, it's pretty impressive, because if everyone else just has a plain organic listing and you've got star ratings in there and they're high with lots of reviews, then that's going to improve your click-through rate, which in turn will probably increase your organic rank as well. So definitely do that. It's a one-time setup and it can do a lot for your organic traffic. You can use it offline as well. Here's a billboard, probably a little bit too much text if you're driving past, but yeah, you can use your reviews offline. So think about all your offline marketing and work in the most appropriate review into the right place. Yeah, that will help improve the conversion rate of the offline marketing as well. The last thing you should do with positive reviewers is turn them into referrers. So these are people that are happy with your business, especially if it's an awesome review. So why not get them referring your business, incentivize them to do so. So I'd recommend setting up a two-way referral scheme, a bit like Uber. You get $20, the person you refer gets $20. Those work the best because both of them are incentivized. And that will actually turn your happy customers, who may already be talking about you because they've left you a good review, into people that are actually incentivized to get sign-ups for you, to get you leads, to get you sales. So yeah, do that. The best part is if you've already built your automated sequence, you can actually just add one extra email, one extra SMS into your sequence. So let's say they click 7 to 10, they're really happy. You could then set another delay of 30 days, for example, and trigger a request for them to be in your referral program. So it's not too much work once you get the referral program up and running. Negative reviews. They hurt a lot when they come in, if you've had them before. So what should you do with them? Here's some of the worst negative reviews I saw. I have no idea how these businesses would deal with that. Hopefully you don't get anything like that. But what you should do, first thing is you should do is reply. There's heaps of brands out there that get negative reviews and they're like, oh, well, it's too hard to deal with, and just don't reply at all. And that looks pretty shocking if you're thinking about using that company and there's no explanation of why they've had all these negative reviews. It's unlikely that you're going to go ahead with them unless they're the only option. So Harvard Business Review did a study. They basically looked at all the review sites, I think it was all the TripAdvisor pages, and looked at when brands started replying to the negative reviews, and they saw a huge uplift in the star rating that they're getting, and also the increase in the number of reviews they're getting. Might coincide with them starting a review generation process, but it's definitely worth replying. Before you reply, you've got to be humble and take on board the negative feedback, because if you reply angry that you got it, it's not going to be a very good reply, and it will actually look worse. So just show that you're a brand that cares and you want to improve. Because if you handle a negative review well, it can actually look quite good, and I'll show you an example soon. Here's a case of someone that doesn't reply. The person has replied again themselves a couple of weeks later saying, I've still tried calling, and they're just, why would anyone deal with this brand, which looks terrible. So some rules around replying. You can reply however you want, but make sure you personalize the replies. I keep saying personalization because if you get copied and pasted a response to a negative review and you're already wound up and it's the same as everyone else's, that's just going to wind you up even further. So make sure you actually say something personal about how they purchased, about their problem and what they've floated, sympathize with them. You should also take it offline. If you keep the review, the thread with going back and forth with that person, it'll get out of control pretty quickly because they are pissed off. So if you can take it offline, ideally to a phone call, in-person visit, do that. Also, you should not make someone who's pissed off with your brand and just left you a negative review and who's probably already emailed you. There's something that all the big brands seem to do. Take the next step. You might have already seen all the review requests that say, sorry you've had a bad time, email us. And what the person does is like, I've emailed you 15 times and just get really pissed off. So if you have to look through 45 Darren's customers, then do it. Try and work out who it was that left you a bad review. You can't work it out all the time because the review platforms don't give you all the details, but you should certainly spend some time and then just contact them outside of that, because if they have to take the next step, they'll be even more pissed. And you should document the outcome. So there's heaps of brands that say, yep, we're going to solve this issue, and that's the last reply you see. What they should do is come back and be like, hey, just an update, we've solved this issue. Because if you're about to choose and use that brand, and you see they haven't really resolved any of the issues, then you might not use it. But if you say, yep, we've solved this issue, we refunded them, then it will increase your trust in that brand. So a few examples of how I just picked a few random brands on product review and how they're handling reviews. East Coast Car Rentals, no reply, no reply, no reply. It doesn't look very good if you have heaps and heaps of reviews like this, and it's not likely that you're going to use them. 0 out of 4. Mate communications, now they're actually pretty good with reviews, but this is the best example I could find of if you don't take it offline, it soon gets out of control. That person has gone back and forth on Mate, and Mate's ended up blaming Telstra, not taking responsibility, and it ends with another question, which they just haven't even bothered replying. They just gave up. That looks pretty bad if you're scrolling through someone's reviews and deciding whether to use them as a company. On the flip side, a good way to 1 out of 4. On the flip side, a good way to handle a review. This company, Australian Outdoor Living, installing fake grass in a house, got a terrible review, 1 out of 5, terrible. What they did is, we know they empathise with them. They sent them a personal reply. We know how exciting it is when you choose to invest in a new project. And after sympathising, they took the next step. So the general manager called them, went out and saw them, resolved the issue, and then they documented it. Say, hey, thanks for taking the time to leave us a bad review and to follow up. We screwed up, and we're open to that, and we're going to improve. And then they said, documented the outcome. We understand you're really happy with your artificial lawn now. So that's a company I'll probably deal with, because you know that even though they had a few bad negative experiences, they resolved it. They actually took the time. So that's a way more impressive way of dealing with a negative review. If you've got a fake review, so some negative reviews are fake, product review and all the different review sites are getting better at policing them, but if you've got a fake review, most sites, all of them apart from Facebook reviews really, allow you to flag it, and they will actually contact the person who left the review and make them prove that they were a customer. So that, make sure you do that if you think it's fake. If you can't get rid of the fake review, or it's on Facebook reviews, you should definitely call out the people that you don't think they're a customer, but you've got to be pretty careful, because if it's the husband purchased and the wife's leaving a review and you say you're a fake review and they go, here's our receipt, that's not going to look very good for your brand either. So just be humble, and I'm trying to find out more. That will be the best way. Last thing you could do with negative reviews, promote them. This is certainly a bit different. It's a pretty random idea, but it's quite cool. Cool, so in summary, step 1, send review requests to all of your customers using multiple channels at the time they're at their happiest. Step 2, filter out as many unhappy customers as you can and resolve their issues before they actually get to the review process, which will improve the number of positive reviews you get. Step 3, make sure you put them to the platforms that are going to give you SEO, going to give you traffic, going to help your Amazon rankings, the one that's going to give you the best results. Don't get them on your own website. Step 4 is use the reviews in your website, in your marketing, and learn from them. Learn what USPs they actually care about, and keep focusing on them in all your marketing that you do. And step 5, personally thank all your positive reviewers and get them enrolled into your referrer program, and work on solving any negative problems so that they're happy, and then get their feedback removed, for example, or just talking about you in a positive way. That's it.